Good morning to you. It's a little bit later than normal here, but than I usually do this. We've had some internet issues over the weekend, so I'm kind of hodgepodged here with the direct line cable cord into my computer, and so I'm limited in where I can be. So I'm sorry if the light behind me is a distraction for you. The picture I held up in the opening picture for this, the snapshot that they ask you to do for this, that's hand painting. It was a gentleman who worked at CETECA, which is a theological seminary in Guatemala City. And I had looked, that was like one of the last things I didn't have. I'd never bought from Guatemala. So, and I'd seen lots of them that I liked, but don't you know, when I went looking, I think 2 trips down, I looked, I couldn't find one that really struck me. And one year I ended up staying late, and I went to a banquet at CETECA when Linda was still there. Linda McCrae was still there. And for a fundraiser, they were selling pictures out in the lobby, and this was painted by one of the employees there. So I bought 2 of them. That is of Lake Atilan. Beautiful, beautiful place to be. And my luggage is already full though, so I left them with her, and I'm very thankful she allowed me to do that. And then when I came down next time, picked them up and brought them home. We had to cancel our trip. We had a mission trip planned for going to Guatemala in July. That's had to be canceled, and don't need to explain why. So be praying for that for next year, that we'll be able to do it next year, and for the young people especially who had their hearts set on getting down there this year, to still be able to get it in their schedule for next year. It's a beautiful country, beautiful people, and yes, there's poverty, a lot of poverty, but it's they're still beautiful country, beautiful people there, and I can't wait to introduce those who've not been there. I can't wait to introduce them to the country and to the people. Hope you had a great weekend. Not that they seem a whole lot different. If you're one of those people that is not going to work, you're staying home all the time anyway. So weekends just kind of are a blur. They don't seem all that special, really. But I know this was Memorial Day weekend, and so there were special remembrances and celebrations that went on. And I hope you were able to find meaningful time, not only for that, but for worshiping the ascended Lord. It was Ascension Sunday, this Sunday for us, and hope you found time to meditate on that and think that all through. We return to our book, our meditations, our devotion book today by Bob Goff, Live in Grace, Walk in Love. The verse for this one is Matthew 13:34. Entitled. The verse says, Jesus spoke all these things to the crowd in parables. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. Bob Goff writes, my worst subject in school was always school. I couldn't focus in class and would fidget until the bell rang at the end of the day. I had an excuse for everything: being late, not turning in homework, not coming to school at all. I was terribly bored, so I became incredibly detached. There was one teacher, though, who wasn't so focused on having his students just memorize information so we could pass the test. Instead, he tried to get us excited by telling us the backstories hidden within history. This is how my college Bible or church history professor was. All kinds of incredible stories, and it really did light it up. He told us about the less likely things, the surprising turns and feelings behind the failures. He wove together a true-to-life picture of real people in real danger, not just facts about battles won or lost. When cold facts were taught with threats of failure if we didn't memorize the data, I usually failed. Most of us don't learn because we're threatened or cajoled or shamed into it. But when stories were told about kind or compassionate or courageous people setting an example for who we might become, I leaned in and my mind opened up. We're all wired that way. Jesus rarely spoke to anyone without telling them a story. The reason is simple. We accept the stories told to us with our faith, our life experience, and our hearts. Because well-told stories are so powerful in our lives, it's not surprising when we realize the stories we tell ourselves have tremendous power to shape us. If you tell yourself you're a bad student, you'll probably become one. If you convince yourself you don't have enough time to help in the soup kitchen, you probably won't. If you say to yourself you're not fun to be around for long enough, you probably won't be. Listen to who God says you are and what he believes is possible in your life. Breathe in hope and breathe out your life. Be picky about listening to the stories you or others have been telling over your life that just aren't true. You'll know if it's God telling the story because it will always be one filled with hope and possibility. What story is God telling through your life this year? Again, poignant moments. What story is God telling you through your life this year? And I remember seeing this on a wall in a doctor's office, and you've probably seen it too. I can't remember the whole thing, but if you treat your child this way, this is what they'll turn out to be. And there was a positive and a negative to it as well. And we tell ourselves things. We tell ourselves that people think this or people are saying that, or we just can't seem to get a hold of some thing in whether it's math or science or whatever. Lots of people have those issues. I was terrible at trying to do sentence structure in school, verbs and nouns and adverbs and adjectives. I understand it all now. But back then it was really hard, dissecting the sentence into I can't even remember what they are now, participle phrases and all that. Terrible at it. But that doesn't matter. If we're listening to people who are constantly negative toward us, it's hard. We need to find a way to tune them out. And I like his suggestion. What does God say about you? What does God say about you? You who are created in his image, you for whom he sent his son to die and shed his blood and save you. What does he say about you? What's his opinion about you? That's who you want to listen to. That's who you want to listen to. Be blessed today. Enjoy the summer-like weather that's in our neck of the woods anyway. And let the sunshine put that vitamin D into you and a kick in your step. Okay? Blessings.